It is a Friday, and I brought in a bunch of mail. I got a ton of mail recently and a bunch of new shirts, including the people from the Institute for Justice sent me 4 shirts. And I've already worn one on camera. The other 3 will pop up in the next few days as I mix them into the rotation. And I guarantee you one of them is going to be people who are like, "Where'd you get that? I want that shirt." So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Among the letters I got, I've got a pile of them here, and some of them accompanied shirts or other things. But for instance, from Paul. "Dear Steve, the new set wall looks great. Brilliant idea. Here are 2 shirts to add to your rotation. One's a new NYU shirt in memory of my brother David, a graduate of the Stern School of Business there. He passed away due to COVID 2 years ago. He knew about your channel through me and saw some of your videos, and I picked up the other shirt at a ham radio event earlier this year. I hope the weather stays warm enough so we can see a video or 2 of the new car. It should be coming any day now. Stay well, my friend, Paul." Now, here's the thing. I think I've worn both those shirts on camera now. I get a lot of questions about the ham radio shirts I wear. I am not a ham radio operator. My brother Ken was for a long time in the old school days of the Morse code and stuff. But I wear them because there's just a lot of people in the audience who send me these shirts. I think it's a cool hobby to have. I saw somebody post the other day on Facebook that they had communicated with somebody in like Tasmania from like New Jersey. So it's always kind of an interesting thing to think about how you can do that kind of communication over such great distances. But I have to mention, though, that I've got a little bit of bad news about the car. I mentioned I have a car that I've ordered. I ordered it over a year ago. It's not here yet. I got a call from the dealer a couple days ago. Said, "Steve, you're behind schedule a little more than we thought." I go, "What does that mean?" He goes, "Probably January, February, maybe March." So there won't be any driving videos of my new car this year because I won't have it this year. It's worth the wait, trust me on that. So I got a letter here from Colorado. "Dear Steve, today is the 19th of September. Mail's been piling up. "And I just finished viewing your spam video. I listened with a mix of angst and disappointment as you recounted family camping trips to Twin Lakes, Michigan. You see, I had bought this shirt from the convenience store early in September in Twin Lakes for you. I debated mailing the shirt from Toivola, but instead brought it back to mail from Colorado. Alas, like always, I'm a day late and a few dollars short. I do hope you do get to wear this soon." I wore the shirt back a few weeks ago. It says Twin Lakes on it, Twin Lakes. There's a lot of places in America called Twin Lakes, but one of them is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, not far, as he points out, from Toivola, not far from, say, Tri-Mountain or Nisula. Okay, it's a little further from Nisula, but I'm just mentioning small towns in that general area. But he was going through town and he'd heard me mention Twin Lakes on a previous video. And so he bought the shirt at the store. And I know what store he's talking about because there's been a store at this one location since I was a little kid. But that's where my family would go camping. And I told some stories about my mother who took her 6 sons on at least one occasion I can think of where my father couldn't make it. And all 7 of us camped in this gigantic circus tent at Twin Lakes. I call it a circus tent because it was about that big. "Dear Steve, greetings from a fan back east. My name is Devin. I've been casually watching your videos for years now. I'm currently in my 2nd year of law school, the Massachusetts School of Law. Your videos somehow always seem to, coincidentally, reinforce topics as I'm learning them. A professor once asked who knew what a replevin action was, and of course your video on the subject instantly guided me to the correct answer. I've always particularly enjoyed your videos on police dogs. Keep an eye out for a SCOTUS ruling in State versus Dorf." He says, "Please find enclosed a sweatshirt from my school, Devin. I have not yet worn that on camera, but it is a sweatshirt, but I will. Just feel free to give me a shout out as Devin from Massachusetts. Going to law school, no less." Got this note here from Kenneth. "Past summer, I ventured back to Keweenaw Peninsula for the first time since 1969. I graduated from Suomi College in 1967 and Northern Michigan in 69. The reason for my visit was to see the campus of Finlandia before the buildings are torn down or appropriated for other uses. I've mentioned in other contexts, and maybe even here, Finlandia University was a university in Hancock, Michigan, founded by Finns back in the 1890s, and ran into such bad financial trouble recently they closed for good. My grandfather was the dean of the college. My mother and my father met there. And so to have that college close is shocking. I had to call my father and break the news to him because he had not heard yet. And I said, Dad, I got bad news. He goes, what's that? And I go, Suomi College just closed, Finlandia. And he goes, closed? I go, permanently, yes. And he goes, why? I said, well, they said that declining enrollment and an insurmountable debt load did them in. He said, oh, thank you for letting me know. And we've since talked about it, but Suomi College was what they called it back in the old days, and it was turned into Finlandia University not too long ago because too many people couldn't pronounce Suomi properly. After purchasing your book, talking about Death's Door and the Italian Hall disaster, I decided to drive up to Calumet and visit the NPS Visitor Center and the Italian Hall Monument. I agree with you that displays at the center tend to paint the minds in a positive light. I found your arguments compelling. Although I've read no other books on the disaster, I like the way you took the various transcripts and used them to come to a resolution of the story. Your book gave me much to think about, and I enjoyed reading it. He says, I realize this year is the 110th anniversary of the Italian Hall tragedy. When I attend worship on Christmas Eve, those who lost their lives that night will be on my mind. So thank you, Kenneth, for that note. Got a letter here from Texas. I've been watching your videos since the Crazy Town saga a few years ago and appreciate how you make the stories that you report on understandable to non-attorneys in the audience. I recently traveled to my hometown in Kansas where I delivered the Ottawa Herald as a kid and visited the 36th annual Old Moraine River Run, a car show that attracted 1,400 entries from all over the country. And I saw they were selling shirts. I got one for you. I wore it on camera 2 days ago. So, Michael, thank you for the note, and thank you for the shirt. Got a card here, sending some love from upstate New York. And it says, to Mr. Steve Lehto and Milo and Wolfie, thank you for the thoughts. Sending my love from upstate New York, Saratoga County, and I wanted to let you know how much you are an inspiration to me. People have told me many times, you can't be a lawyer because you have autism, epilepsy. How do you expect to do anything productive? I respond, I can. By the way, you can read my entire card if you would like on your show, as I'm open about my different abilities. So, Darlene, but Darlene sent that to me. And she also is the one who sent me the license plate of the boss. And also, along with that, a microfiber cleaning cloth, which I have not opened up just yet. Jeff sends me notes from time to time and says, hey, Steve, attorneys are like gunfighters. They're all considered to be no good, rotten scoundrels until you have a bad guy that needs to be dealt with. Then you want the best one. Great videos, Jeff. Thank you very much for sending that. I appreciate that. Another note here from Wade. Dear Steve, could you please do an episode on the legality of printer companies forcing people to purchase their ink cartridges? Yeah, I think I've talked about that before, but many companies out there either force you to or lean heavily on you to do that. I have a Hewlett-Packard printer, scanner, multiple type device, and if I use non-HP cartridges, I get all kinds of warning lights and stuff. It still works perfectly fine. It's just annoying. But I know that some printers out there will brick themselves if you use the wrong cartridges, and that ought to be illegal. Finally, I'm going to end with this, and dear Mr. Lehto, the enclosed item is a counted cross stitch that I did of the state of Michigan. I didn't buy the pattern to purposely do one for you, but for my nephew-in-law who lives in Negaunee. And Negaunee's up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, up in Iron Country. I am 75 years old and have been doing cross stitch for a long time, and most of my relatives and friends have plenty of pieces. I figured I had to expand my horizons, so you are the lucky recipient. Well, thank you very much. I have been watching your YouTube program for a long time. I've learned so much. Lots of times I've thought, that can't be true. It's amazing what sort of laws there are out there. So many of them don't seem fair. Makes me shake my head in disbelief. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. The cross stitch needs to be framed. If you're going to do that, I would recommend Hobby Lobby as they're experienced in framing handcrafts, but I will leave it to your direction. I will leave it to your discretion, Sally. And Sally, thank you very much. Although I have a guy who does all my framing for me. I've actually got a ton of framed stuff in my office and in my house. And I've got one guy who does everything for me, largely because I can do that and have all the frames match, or at least not clash with each other. But the cross stitch she sent me is thus. And it does look really cool. So you got your fish up there in the lake. You got what appears to be mining implements over at the left end of the Upper Peninsula. You got some pine trees. Got a lot of those up there. You got your milk there, and there is dairy up there, and a bunch of farm-type stuff here. Cherries for the cherry orchards, apples, and, of course, you got Saginaw, Flint, Lansing, Grand Rapids, Battle Creek, and Detroit, and then you got 4 of the Great Lakes listed all around Michigan, and, of course, Lehto's Law. So thank you very much. As many of you know, I am a big booster of the state of Michigan. I love the state of Michigan, and so there's that. And got a note here from a guy who I think is in Finland. It says, Steve, I recently watched your video of newspaper raid where you also talked about Tuomi's magazine raid back in the days before my time. I appreciated you telling you have Finnish ancestors instead of saying you're Finnish, like Irish and Italians often do. Small little things in life that just bug me in the wrong way. Also, your pronunciation of the magazine name wasn't that bad. He goes, actually, you butcher your own family name more. But he put a smiley face there. Oh, I'm sorry. He does not live in Finland, but he's Finnish. Hang on. I've been watching your videos for a few years now, which is kind of strange, so I don't live anywhere even near the U.S. or have much of an interest to legal matters, especially what's happening overseas. But just the way you talk is so nice, calm, relaxed, and funny. Remind me a bit of hostage negotiator Chris Voss's definition of late-night FM radio voice. I did do late-night FM radio for a period of time. Anyway, to practice your umlaut pronunciation, here's a couple of shirts for you. Don't worry, there's no commercial interest behind this. And he sent me a couple of shirts with Finnish writing on them. I'll get them on camera as well. And he says the texts are in Finglish or Rally English, as Finnish motorsports drivers are notorious of having great driving skills, but not so great speaking English. So that's from Marcus. And the funny part is that I already have a shirt that I have. It's in English, and it's from the Finnish driver who told his crew to shut up and leave him alone because he knows what he's doing. Everybody heard him say that to his crew. Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing, which is a very, very typical Finnish thing to do in the middle of a race. And then this, of course, is the first Friday video after I stopped doing the reruns as a regular thing. I did post a live stream that I had recorded, and I shot the live stream, I believe, back in 2020. So I thought, well, I had not reposted one of those. So I was going to have to re-render that one anyways because of the format it was in. So I re-rendered it, and when I re-rendered it, I put the word from 2020, the words from 2020 on the screen or something like that. And then I put an intro at the beginning saying this is from 2020. So I wanted to make sure that nobody thought this was like a new live stream they missed where I'm talking about things 3 years old for some weird reason. And some people thanked me for this. They said, hey, cool, I hadn't seen one of these in a while. Thank you for putting this up. I did have somebody send me a note, and this is what... I couldn't get out of here without making one complaint, right? Somebody sent me a note and said, Steve, that video's too long. I'm not going to watch that. Yeah, you can see how long the videos are before you click on them. And if the video's too long, don't watch it. Why do you feel the need to announce that, though? What do you... Oh, noted. One person thought the video was too long, and she's not going to watch it. Okay. So there you go. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.